Hey, welcome back to the Screen Team, and we are giving you a lot of great movie reviews, some new, some old, and this next one is definitely just a little bit older. It's a Western film. We don't do a lot of Western films, and that's a shame, so we're going to do one for you right now. The movie is called Young Guns. Remember this movie from back in the day? Well, if not, we've got Kyle here to help remind you, refresh your memory. Kyle, how you doing, man?
Oh, pretty awesome, man. It's been a good week down here in the Ozarks and taking care of a lot of things and just keep on keeping on, man. Doing very well.
All right. Now, Young Guns came out when I was a whippersnapper. All right. So were you even born when Young Guns came out?
Barely. Barely. I just had officially become a feasible thought in the world when that first came out.
Well, how'd you get introduced to Young Guns, man?
Actually, through the speaker, because we had a VHS when I was probably about 11 of a movie called Young Guns 2, and the only Western I had been familiar with up to that point, well, the only ones were Tombstone and Unforgiven, for obvious reasons. They're awesome. But I would occasionally watch this movie, and like the more I watched it, I started really getting into the characters, and Emilio Estevez, it had a great cast, and William Peterson, from CSI things in it too. And because of that, I eventually found my way back to the original film. And Westerns are not a genre of film that I go out of my way to watch, but there's a handful that I will. And these two, especially the second one, were just outstanding to me. So that's how I got into them. Westerns weren't something that somebody showed me. It was just by happenstance that we had a VHS lying around.
Kyle, you mentioned the cast a little bit, and the cast has an extraordinary amount of talent that we know today. But at the time, they were young, kind of getting a fresh start, and the main one was Emilio Estevez. He was Billy the Kid. He had a pretty memorable performance, don't you think?
Absolutely. Just started as a common horse thief in that movie. Now, before he did Young Guns, all I ever knew him from prior to was The Outsiders, as he played Two-Bit in that awesome adaptation of the film. Hey, I bought that for my fiance for Valentine's Day.
Hey, I'm not judging. I'm not judging.
But he was an up and coming actor at the time. This really did get the ball rolling on him to have a very successful run over probably the next decade, so to speak. He was in it playing William H. Bonney or Billy the Kid. We also had Kiefer Sutherland, Charlie Sheen, which when I first saw this really surprised me that he did a Western movie, because that does not scream Charlie Sheen. It was a fantastic cast, and everyone, just like you said, starting out just looking for an opportunity to make a name for themselves. And given how these guys' careers went, this is not the kind of film I would have thought they would have done. Especially when you look, like you said, you look at Charlie Sheen. And literally the next year, he went from playing as a roughneck in a Western film to Wild Thing Ricky Vaughn.
He was more suited for that role, though.
Let's go with that.
So let me ask you, Kyle, these characters, the Young Guns, if you will, are they good guys?
You're torn watching the film, because they do commit a lot of heinous acts, but it's in the name of protecting a farm for a man who takes care of them named John Tunstall. And they're kind of like shades of gray characters. You could say anti-heroes, but really they're doing it in the name of protecting someone who is the only person that has their back. So, you could say yes, you could also say no, they're not. But to some degree, their actions are justified throughout the film, so you really can't get too angry at any of the characters throughout the film. So I never really did, and I kind of understood the plight, and it's kind of a danged if you do, danged if you don't situation for these guys throughout the whole film.
Is this a movie that is a multiple watch for you? If you're flipping through your cable and you're like, oh, dude, Young Guns on AMC, are you going to stop and watch it?
Potentially. It's a solid Western film, because, through the late 80s and the early 90s, really, Westerns really blew up and, started to gain a lot more traction after the John Wayne era. So it's one of those films that, I would stop and watch for a little bit. Solid popcorn movie. You get to see these guys before they really grew into stardom, before Kiefer Sutherland became Jack Bauer and, Emilio became Gordon Bombay. and and all these other guys. And honestly, like I said, it's a solid, good Western film. I'm a little more partial to the sequel, also because Bon Jovi's on the soundtrack. But I digress. Dude, it's a good. It's like I said, it's a good movie. I recommend it if you ever just want to sit down and watch a good Western. Yeah, check it out, definitely.
All right, the movie's called Young Guns. You heard it from Kyle. He says give it a check out if you're into Westerns. It's definitely one you might want to check out. He's Kyle. I'm Chris. We're all a part of the Screen Team. And remember, we want you to know before you go.